podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
So, what was the highlight of your week?
Various different things that happen in my real life, but from a football perspective...
I don't really care about that. Let's just talk about football.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure it was Atom and Humber's Instagram account.
Oh, you're fully in. You're fully in. After you were a naysayer on Alexis.
I know.
I don't want him. He's a mercenary. I'm with Keown. I'm paraphrasing here, but... Now you're going all soft for the dogs.
Listen, they totally won me over. The picture of them in the United kits and then the next day in little United jackets. It's absolutely magnificent scenes as far as I'm concerned.
I don't remember them selling dog jackets in the megastore.
No, I think these are children's jackets adopted for the purpose, I reckon. The thing is, when we signed Robin van Persie from Arsenal, there was this general tone that, we knew he was good, but we didn't know he was this good. I feel a bit like that about Atom and Humber. Like, I knew they were good boys. I didn't know they were this good boys.
Oh, dear. Anyway, Alexis was good, wasn't he? He played well against Yeovil.
I mean, he played the piano well as well before that.
Yeah, I think there was some creative editing. I don't think he's that good, really. With the piano.
I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure the first passage of that where it's sort of quite plinky-plonky, there's a bit where it adds a bit more trills and thrills in it, which maybe not him, but there was some behind-the-scenes stuff of him actually learning how to play Glory, Glory, Man United, as if he didn't already know.
So he started against Yeovil, and it was an interesting lineup, wasn't it? And... for a lot of the game, a pretty tough game for United, though. Not one that United were ever in the risk of losing, but Yeovil worked hard, and it took quite a while into the second half before United really pulled away.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that was a huge surprise, really. I think this is, we talked on the show last week about how this would likely not be a breeze, and United would probably be quite a changed lineup and thus a bit disjointed. I thought there were some really serious positives from this game from a United perspective. A couple of players who come in for a lot of criticism recently, both playing well. Obviously, you could take the quality of opposition into account for that, but I just mean in terms of their confidence and sharpness. I thought two goal scorers, Rashford and Herrera, both looked back to something akin to their normal selves.
Yeah, and I think it was very important for Rashford to score. He's obviously he's played quite a bit of football because he plays in every game, one way or another. He doesn't start that often through the centre. United now have another choice. Another option through the centre in Sanchez. I don't expect him to play there that often, but he's definitely an option, so a little bit more pressure. So it was very good for Rashford to score. And Herrera did well in midfield. Thought he was energetic, looked a bit more like his normal self. Obviously, he scored the goal because he always scores against Yeovil, so duh. Sanchez, I thought, was very lively, obviously high quality straight away. You can see it. So reverse pass to put in Martial for his assist there. McTominay was solid in midfield again. Every time we see him, he looks like he's 15 years older than he really is. Someone who is 15 years older than him, Carrick. Lovely to see him back. I'm not sure we'll see him too much before the end of the season when he retired, and the back four were okay. A couple of moments from Lindelof when you were like, oh, and quite a few moments when Darmian was serving up a sandwich and hoping we'd eat it. I haven't seen it, but I'm going to guess that his rating on who scored is fairly high because he got an assist, but he was easily United's worst player. All in all, nothing negative about this game at all. Standard 4-0 win. A whole bunch of goals for people who needed them. Not that Lukaku needed to play at all, but it's nice for him to get a goal because they've been a bit harder to come by since November or so. Another goal from Lingard, standard. And we got to see Angel Gomez.
Oh, yeah. And a lovely cameo. Oh, so close after a beautiful
Shame.
run.
It would have been nice, wouldn't it? Yeah, drifted. He's got a lovely balance, Angel Gomez. I think that's one of the things that's really marked out his youth career. That type of goal is one he's scored many times, not this time.
The performance in general, so the goals, very sad for the Yeovil defender who looked so sort of devastated that he thought the keeper was going to come out clearly when Rashford nicked in. And
absolute schoolboy that was.
One of the things that was interesting is I thought from the goalkeeper's perspective, I bet the goalkeeper's pleased that everyone's kind of rushing around that defender going, it's all right, mate, it's all right. And no one's looking at the goalkeeper going, come on, you really should have come out and got that, to be fair.
Yeah, no, he didn't take control. Neither of them took control of the situation. At any point, James could have smashed that into the Rose, cleared it, and the goalkeeper, rude to his line, didn't take command at all. Almost said James then, but he was definitely a James.
The force of habit is strong. I thought Rashford's all-round game was really bright. I thought he looked very sort of purposeful and up for it, and just the kind of best of Marcus Rashford, really. And I think I mentioned after the Derby game that it was notable that Herrera had looked a little bit peakier, a little bit more... Not peakier, that's the opposite of what I mean. A little bit kind of up for it and a bit more confident, a few more forward passes. Lovely goal. And of course, the first assist for a man who I think is going to get quite a lot of assists at United. I've done the biggest 180 this week. I was joking about the dogs, but just reading some more stuff about Sanchez. This always happens when players come from elsewhere. I don't know any players that well who don't play for United, because you spend so much time watching United, don't watch that much of other teams. But he just can do a lot of amazing things, can't he? I mean, it was interesting that he played on the left, I thought. Maybe even slightly worrying, although the circumstances here were quite specific with Rashford playing through the middle.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a big choice for Jose. Let's assume that Lukaku starts more games than he doesn't, because he should and will. And Rashford and Martial have been job sharing on the left. And with Mkhitaryan gone, Mata's right-hand berth is all his own, unless Sanchez plays there. But he has been playing an awful lot off the left for Arsenal. And he's going to be very dangerous there because he's again a player with lovely balance. And, from that position, he can play balls in. It's not like United are the kind of team that gets to the byline and starts whipping in crosses. He's not going to do that anyway, but he can cut in and shoot. And that's where I'll score a lot of goals from. So it is worrying. If I was Rashford and Martial, I'd be thinking I might not be getting that many games.
But it would be insane. I mean, it would just defy all logic. It'd be, the kind of Moneyball principle of strengthen your weaknesses, don't replace areas in which enhance areas in which you're strong. It would seem so utterly bizarre to sideline Rashford and Martial just because they're such a spark in our team that,
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Jose clearly likes the balance of having Mata on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
And it could well be that Sanchez comes into the middle and plays through the middle a bit more often.
Balance is a funny...
And obviously Jesse Lingard, who's on to score about 30 goals this season, will be disappointed with that.
Balance is a funny word to use for Mata on the right, isn't it? Because it's so unbalanced. It's so asymmetric when he plays on the right. Like the amount of times Mata was just backing Sanchez up on the left wing. They were little tricky players club hanging out together, having a good time.
Yeah, I don't think it's definitely not balance of feet, is it? I mean, although I think when he plays on the right, I'd still maintain it's not his best position, but he can cut in and drift, and the pitch is fully open for him there because obviously he's got a very cultured left foot and can play the ball anywhere from there. So he has got the fully open forward line for him to play balls into, or find other space because obviously with Valencia behind him normally, he's got a player who's willing to sort of bomb on. That's not quite the case with Darmian. Obviously, he got the assist against Yeovil. I'm hoping we don't have to watch him too often.
No, he's not good. Lingard, I was watching a game with a friend and they said this is going to finish 2-0, isn't it? And I said, no, Jesse Lingard's on. It's not going to finish 2-0. And of course it did not finish 2-0. Nice for Lukaku to get a goal as well after that, like you said. When the substitution happened and he brought Lukaku on, with the state of that pitch and some of the tackles that were going in on Sanchez in particular, I was thinking, what are you doing, Jose? But I suppose he just wanted Alexis and Lukaku to have some time on the pitch together.
I guess so. I mean, one of the interesting things about Rashford and Sanchez is it kind of felt there's the potential for a bit of chemistry there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, there is. But as there is with Lukaku. And I mean, I think I've said this quite a lot this season, but we do have a lot of forwards who are capable of, developing chemistry with other players. A lot of ballers, as they would say, in that mix. A lot of people that are really comfortable with the ball in tight spaces and pulling magical things off is a big part of what that forward line can do. So. We were talking about Mata briefly earlier. Amazing statistic from Full-Time Devils Instagram account, which said that Mata is 4 games away from having played more games for United than anyone else in his career, which is really amazing when you think about it. It doesn't necessarily feel like that because it felt like he came relatively late in his career to us. But, yep, he's about to break the appearance record he had at Valencia, which is kind of cool.
Well, 4 years. 4 years this week that he's been a Manchester United player. So, and I don't know in those 4 years whether he's exactly given us what we thought he might. Those couple of seasons where he won Chelsea Player of the Year and scored sort of 20 goals a season. Yeah. We've never quite had that, have we, from him? But we've had a lot of good performances from him, and he plays more often than not.
Yeah, and just a load of great moments. I mean, obviously, he's been at United in the worst 4 years of most people will even ever remember seeing at United. But in that time, he's won the Europa League, the FA Cup, the League Cup, Community Shield, doesn't really count, and played some lovely football. And I wouldn't mind, to be honest, if he was here for another 4 years.
Yeah, I'd be surprised. But you never know.
Yeah. 150 games up for Ander Herrera also. 3 years, I guess, at the club. Not quite. Maybe 3.5 years, is it? Because, he came in the summer after Mata arrived. And then Marouane Fellaini has now played 100 games for Manchester United as well.
Jesus Christ.
Yes.
That feels. But look, I mean, getting back to all that debate about all those forwards, that leaves United with basically we saw 6 forwards for 3 or 4 positions depending on the formation, doesn't it? You know, you've got Rashford, Martial, Sanchez, Lingard, Lukaku, and Mata. Yeah. And lots of them have a lot of flexibility to play in sort of any of those forward positions. Yeah. Lukaku is really a specialist, and Mata's not going to be playing up front anytime soon, I don't think. But, lots of flexibility in terms of formations and combinations. Should be lots of goals there. I mean, Lukaku, Lingard, Marcel and Rashford have all scored over 10 goals this season. Yeah. There's not much beyond that, and I guess you'd be looking at Mata to say, hey, we normally get more out of you in terms of goals, don't we? He's normally a double figures a season man.
I mean, double figures in all competitions, perhaps. He hasn't got double figures in the league since 2012-13 at Chelsea. The most league goals he's got for us is 9. So, he's not been prolific at United. But you perhaps expect him to chip in with a couple more. I mean, I guess one of the reasons he isn't is just because so many of the goals are being snaffled up by those 3 in Rashford, Lukaku, and Martial. Lingard must have a pretty big hatful himself as well. So, the goals are definitely being shared around among all those forwards, as I guess you would expect, and you would imagine that Sanchez is going to get at least his fair share as well, isn't he?
Yeah, you'd think so. I mean, he's able to play in the Champions League, so it's not going to be one of those things where he's dropping in and out of the team all the time. You'd expect him to be in the team for most games for the rest of the season. That's going to be another 30 games or so. Maybe not that many, but quite a few. He's going to get double figures, you'd think.
And I've just looked it up. Jesse Lingard, 12 goals in all competitions. Lots and lots of goals coming from Lingard as well. That's 4 players in double figures for the season. I would love to know the last time we had 4 players in double figures for the season at this point.
12 goals is a great return for Jesse Lingard. Didn't he score in the? Does that count? Did he score in Charity Shield? No.
We weren't in the Charity Shield this season. You've got Mourinho's completely hypnotised you to believe that we're winning more trophies than we actually are.
I have somehow felt he'd got even more than that. But yeah, 12 goals, great return for Jesse.
So, talking of Mourinho, because I haven't got anything else to say about Yeovil, that's the boss is signed up. So lots of speculation that he might leave or go to PSG or all that. All it took to get him to sign on the dotted line was a vast expenditure on an absolutely amazing, proven world-class player. And Mourinho's like, yep, that's all I needed. Sign me up, son. 2020 with an option to extend free. I mean, essentially, it's a 1-year extension with a 1-year option. This isn't like Moyes' 6-year contract or anything.
No. Yeah. It's a 1-year extension with a one-way 1-year option. And, United can trigger it, not the manager. And it is reasonably sensible, I'd say, given that Mourinho's history. I don't really want to be paying off £15 million for 5 years if it all blows up next season. So I think it's pretty sensible. I guess we won't hear too many of those stories of Mourinho to PSG until, 18 months' time or so. And then it's going to start coming up again, if he makes it that far.
12. It's a year extension, so 12 months. I mean, the thing about this is it's the thing that it does is quell a lot of kind of slightly unsettling speculation. He gave a very enjoyable interview after he signed that contract. He said that he's really loves the current crop of players, which you know why. You can understand. He clearly is enjoying that crop of players. They seem like a really nice bunch of lads, and there's some very fine players in there, so he must surely believe he can do something with them. He did say, I think it's good for everyone, even if there's maybe a couple of people who are not happy about it. I did wonder who he meant. Daley Blint, Luke Shaw, maybe not so much Shaw, but definitely Daley Blint's posted a lot of moody Instagram pictures this week.
Yeah. Blint should just shave that hair off and then come back different. Maybe he'd convince Mourinho to let him play then. He's definitely getting sold in the summer, isn't he? Oh
yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's about time too. Not Daley Blint in particular, but the squad needs a bit more surgery. It needs a few more outs, basically, doesn't it? It just needs 1 or 2 or maybe 3 players, the kind of weak links in the squad, the people that come in and the incidents of injury and look like a bit of a liability waiting to happen. I mean, Matteo Darmian, we'd assume, would go. Blint, who else? I mean, Smalling's playing every week, so I guess he's staying.
Yeah. I mean, look, Smalling's not had his greatest ever season and didn't last season either. I don't think he'd be in my top 4. I mean, Darmian and Blint, waste of space, to be honest. Both of them. Although, it doesn't mean there's no guarantee just because you bring in a couple more Jorge Mendes clients or Mino Raiola clients or whoever's the flavour of the month, that they're going to be great at all, And this is our director of football is this kind of set of agents we use. So there's no guarantee we get anything better. And it'll be a significant expense. Jose, I presume, is going to want another central midfielder, if only to replace Michael Carrick, but just because he'll want another option anyway, because it looks a bit thin there, overstocked in central defence, and he might even want a replacement for Fellaini, who's, it seems, is definitely off as well.
Yeah, that's the other one. I guess it's... So 3 outs, maybe 4. Well, Carrick will retire. I mean, well, we could talk about this as the summer approaches. But yeah, I mean, it's good that Mourinho is signed up because it means more settled, more certainty for another year. It's one of those things that it just makes sense to extend that contract when it's 18 months away, doesn't it? That's the length of time that these things should be done at. And we used to do it with players too, although lately we've started doing that a lot later. A lot of players in the last year of their contract this year and not necessarily having signed new deals yet, but that does seem to be the way we operate now. So nice to see them being a bit proactive with the manager. I guess there are people who are disappointed that Mourinho's staying on, but I think that seems a bit short-sighted, really.
Yeah, I mean, what other options guarantee United better progress? Right, like none, basically. He's pretty infuriating at times. I think we had a little chat on WhatsApp group. What would we see first? United winning the league or United smashing one of the other top six with some free-flowing football? It's definitely the former, isn't it? I don't think we're about to see Mourinho change the habit of a managerial lifetime. He is what he is.
Yeah, and talking of which, top six team awaits United in the league on Wednesday night. Wembley, we're the famous Man United, and we're going to Wembley, as the supporters were singing at the Yeovil game. I don't know if they were referring to the progress in the FA Cup or the fact that we were literally going to Wembley on Wednesday night.
Yeah, but the thing is about Wembley is that it's a soulless hole, a shrine to corporatism. It's really a very unpleasant stadium. The previous stadium, I mean, had a bit of character, mainly involving like 3 feet of piss in the toilets, and not being able to see anything because it was the shallowest stadium in history. That wasn't particularly good either, but apparently had some kind of mystique and aura. Surely the new one doesn't, since they play pretty much every game there now in the Cups, or at least from the semi-finals onwards. It doesn't hold a special place, does it, for anyone? It's just another big stadium, and not a very nice one at that.
I can't quite agree, because it is the place where I saw the best thing I've ever seen live in a football match. As long-time listeners will know, I didn't really get to go to much football in my younger years, only really in the last few years that I've been going very, very regularly. And that means that basically Martial's winner against Everton and the ridiculous celebrations afterwards was definitely one of the most incredible things I've ever seen live. So I do have a great deal of affection for, Jesse Lingard / Anthony Martial National Stadium.
Yeah, but it's crap. But
great views though.
Nice experience for you. But not my favourite. Anyway, I'm sure it'll be full against Spurs, because they'll turn up to support United while singing about supporting their local team and all of that. Spurs in decent form. Although perhaps not as good as they were last season, given that they are sort of just about clinging on to the coattails of somewhere near the Champions League qualification places.
Yeah, they are somehow top of the form table, but I think that says more about the form table than it does necessarily about Spurs. So they won 3, then they drew, then they won, then they drew. So in their last 3 games, it's draw, win, draw, and then they drew against Newport in the FA Cup. But still, they managed to be top of the Premier League form table, which is. Yeah, like I said, it just seems a bit silly, because they have slightly gone off the boil, because at least 2 of those draws were games you would certainly have expected them to win. Yeah,
I mean they comfortably beat Everton and Southampton just before the new year, and they won at Burnley, and so they've beaten a few decent sides in the last month or so. Very, very close to getting embarrassed by Newport in the Cup, weren't they? And it was pretty tame draw against Southampton last weekend, So I'm not sure. They're definitely not as consistent as they were last season. It's probably a tougher league this season, with sort of 5 teams pretty close in quality, and then City obviously a step above. Although apparently Guardiola doesn't believe it, crying this week about not having enough money for players. You're kidding me, aren't you? Oh, honestly, I'm not one. I'm not one for moaning too much about this. I've grown up No, I don't.
Yes, of course you
I've
have.
grown up. I don't believe in conspiracy theories, and it's. But please, Guardiola moaning about not having enough money. What does he mean? He means I can't buy the 20 best players in the world. Is that? I mean, his club is the PR arm of the Abu Dhabi royal family. It's the sovereign wealth fund. And they want to make people feel good about a country with an awful human rights record. So, I don't know why he's complaining. He's getting paid millions of pounds to do that.
Yeah, and they've scored 70 goals and conceded 18 this season, so I don't know why he's upset. They're fine. You don't have to worry, Pep. You're all right. It's all fine.
I think the whole Alexis thing got to him a bit.
Yeah, he shook. No, it's what you named the Rantcast episode the other week. That's what it is. Spurs, the one recent fixture of theirs, which we should probably be looking most closely at, of course, the one frustrating draw where a team of plucky underdogs, managed by someone with a deep connection to United and the same first two letters of his surname as the current manager, and basically using exactly the tactics that the current Man United manager is going to use, scraped a 1-1 draw when West Ham and the Moisaya rolled up to Wembley Stadium and put 217 men behind the ball. Is there any way, I know your answer to this question, I don't even know why I'm wasting my breath asking it, is there any way we don't see a relentlessly defensive Manchester United in this game?
No, I mean, let's see. I mean, will Mourinho play the way he would play against Liverpool and City? Maybe not exactly that way. I mean, he may not see exactly the same types of threat come from Spurs going forward. But they have plenty of players who can cause United damage. They also, they're not necessarily as strong at the back as some of those other opponents. Well, Liverpool pretty awful, and he still played hyper defensively. So I was trying to rack my brain for an argument against United parking the bus, but no, we're going to park the bus.
I mean, so who are their key threats? Obviously Harry Kane, who is a genuinely extraordinary striker. I mean, the Kane hype train, you can't be too hyped about Harry Kane, I don't think. I mean, what an incredible impact he's had in the last few years. It's ongoing. He even scored against Newport. He just doesn't stop scoring. And he scores all different types of goals and he's just an amazing striker. He's way too good to be at a club that isn't regularly challenging for serious honours. Whether he'll spend his whole career at Spurs trying to challenge for those kind of honours, I mean, he makes an enormous difference in the potential for them being the kind of team that can finish second in the league a couple of times in a row, which is obviously not something we've associated with Tottenham. The rest of the cast, Christian Eriksen, I think, is a wonderful player. And it was really interesting watching the difference between him and Sanchez, actually, when Tuanzebe was given the job to do on both of them. And Eriksen just played Tuanzebe like a fiddle and dragged him all over the pitch and just looked like he knew exactly what to do in those circumstances, whereas Sanchez just kept running at him. A bit worrying. Dele Alli, who's not having a good season at all. And then Son Heung-min, who is having a really good season, and I think is a very fine player.
He's a very fine player in multiple numbers of positions, and often plays off the left, but he can play, and especially with, if Eriksen plays over the other side, which he does occasionally, but can play in any one of those sort of 3 forward positions behind Kane. That's you've listed them. It's Kane, Eriksen, Ali, and Son who are the danger men, and they play Dyer and Dembele in midfield who hold and protect the back four, which is a very good back four. Davis and Aurier pushing forward, and I guess Sanchez and Vertonghen. Yep. It will probably be.
At the moment, it seems to be. Yeah, I guess Alderweireld must be injured.
Yeah, he has been. Yeah. It's that's and a very good keeper in Lloris. Almost at De Gea's standards, not so good with his feet.
Wow, almost is a strong word.
Almost, nearly. Nearly.
Nearly in the same chapter.
Yeah, so it's sort of the same ballpark.
Only in a literal sense. Only in that they're both on the field at the same time on Wednesday.
Look, he's not giving him a foot rub, okay, but it's the same ballpark.
Okay. No, I mean, Lloris is a much worse goalkeeper than David De Gea. That's important.
All right. But anyway, look, the threat comes from that front five, of course. And, you know, I assume they play a flat back four. They played 3 against Newport. Yeah, Pochettino's done that occasionally. I suppose United could go to a 3, play a sort of 3-4-3. Don't expect it, but could do. So Mourinho's definitely done that in these types of games before.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I'll be really interested to see is how much difference Sanchez makes to kind of almost the argument that you and I had after a couple of these games against the top 6, where I was trying to say that although you can make a strong argument to say that the tactics is very defensive, one of the huge problems is that our counter-attacking play was so profoundly ineffective, and a huge amount of that in a lot of these big games was about Henrik Mkhitaryan. RIP, he's with the Angles now. You know, this is the kind of game where Sanchez for Mkhitaryan is a astronomical upgrade, and even like, much as I absolutely love him and he's in an amazing patch of form, Sanchez over Lingard you'd expect would be an upgrade here. I wonder whether we won't see Mata in this game because he'll just want that full counter-attacking unit. So
yeah, he's not done that too often, but yeah, it could be. I mean, I agree. Sanchez in this context is an upgrade, but there are a few chances you'd expect him to take more of those chances than not. You know, so Mourinho called out Marcus Rashford again after Yeovil, didn't he? And said, you know, Sanchez's pass was the one that Rashford is too fearful to make or too nervous to make. I'm not sure that's exactly fair, because I think Rashford's sort of awareness in those positions is pretty good normally, pretty good. I know he in the last few weeks, who was it? Not against the game before last, where he delayed playing a ball once that he could have played, and you kind of feel that in his more confident moments he would have done it, you know. But I think actually that's one of the great things about Rashford. He has a very mature all-round game. Point being, that in those few chances United get, if we are going to play quite defensively and then break, Sanchez you'd expect to make the right decisions and be the goal threat and clinical if United don't create too many chances.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things that will be fascinating, of course, is because this will bring back the conversation about Lukaku against the top 6, but I suspect if United play anything like functionally, we won't see Lukaku looking phased by playing against the top 6 team. I think it will be used as a stick to beat him with if United don't play well. And I think that it's so odd sitting here thinking about this game, and in almost every respect, there's absolutely no reason to think that United won't play well in this game. Matic has had a rest. Pogba's had a rest. Pogba's looking in very good form, although he wasn't great last week in a game. He was excellent the game before that. We've got Sanchez now. Lukaku's just scored. Martial and Rashford are now both firing, we can say. The back four will probably be, I suspect, Valencia, Smalling, Jones and Young rather than Shaw, because that seems to be his go-to choice, which is a unit that you know looks kind of vulnerable, but should have the proper kind of protection from both the system and Matic in particular. So it's weird to kind of just expect United to play badly because it's Mourinho away against the top 6 team. So we expect it to be dull, basically.
No, look, I think right now on paper you can look at United's side and you shouldn't fear Tottenham that much, right? United more than match man for man Spurs and have a deeper resources in reserve, much deeper resources in reserve than Spurs.
Especially up front.
Yeah. I mean, Spurs' squad is quite thin beyond the sort of 1 to 11. So this should be a game in which United go, we want to consolidate our position in second and put pressure, if they can be, any on City. Don't want to lose this game through being timid and then suddenly being back in a real dogfight for the Champions League places. But I don't really expect that. I don't. That's not how Mourinho thinks. Mourinho is going to be thinking point away at Spurs is a good point. We'll take that, and then we'll see if we can get something, in the details of the game.
Yeah, and a point away at Spurs is a good result. That's that is true. It's a fine result. They need to beat us more than we need to beat them. Of course, it'd be great to win and extend the lead, but this is the Mourinho compromise. I mean, I think I might have said this on the podcast before, so apologies for the repetition. But, you were saying, did he always do this at Chelsea? And I talked to a Chelsea supporting friend of mine and asked him that question. And he just laughed and said, in this recent spell, absolutely. And even before, that it's always 0-0 plus with Mourinho. It's always a point plus away from home. If you get better, then that's a bonus. Not away from home against anyone, but, against the big teams. And so, yeah, it's hard to be optimistic about a brilliant performance. And that is the frustration about United under Mourinho, because it doesn't really feel necessary. And still, even though this is a ridiculously romantic notion, it still feels somehow antithetical to what it means to be United. Like, that's such an ethereal and nonsense concept, but still,
Well,
there's.
But it is, isn't it? And I know it's ridiculous, because in 130 years of history, not every United side has been great and has played attacking football, and not even under some of our more attacking coaches, of course. But I think it's a notion that United supporters want from the club, mostly. And so when Mourinho does play hyper defensively, some people feel quite angry about it, including me on occasion.
But good. I was like, you said some people. I'm like, are you asking for a friend?
Yeah, that's it. I'm asking for a friend. Asking for a friend. After Spurs, United played Huddersfield. We'll smash this lot, won't we?
I mean, in all seriousness, I believe the answer to that question to be yes, because we have looked absolutely fine at home against teams we're supposed to beat. We'll play 4-2-3-1 in that game, be on the front foot for most of it, and we'll almost certainly, by sheer force of individual talent in attack, I really would not be at all surprised if that game was a 4-0.
Well, we are 4-0 FC. So, yeah, exactly. And Huddersfield are not in great form. And we'd like a bit of revenge for that piece of nonsense when we went to their place. Worst game under Mourinho by some distance, that one. So,
Oh, hold on. Zorya Luhansk at home. Yeah. I mean, we won that game, but still, we only won it when Rooney shanked the ball into the floor and Zlatan headed home. Earlier on, when you were listing our forwards, you didn't even mention Zlatan.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's not fit. He's been out all season, basically. And I know he's been saying he's coming back, but, honestly, if you get anything out of him, it's a bonus. The club surely will not sign him onto another contract. If they do, it's only because there's some kind of clause with Raiola that says Pogba won't start agitating for a new contract or a transfer away if he gives Zlatan an extra year.
What were you saying about not believing conspiracy theories?
Yeah. That one I'd believe, though, with Raiola.
Yeah, absolutely.
If he tells me it's pasta, I look under the sauce.
It's always good to refer to our favourite ever manager's casual xenophobia, isn't it? The Mkhitaryan deal with Sanchez happened, and it was a high-profile swap deal between two major clubs in England.
Never happened outside Football Manager, but it did. Arsenal like swapping players, apparently. They seem very pleased with the swap deal as well. Arsene Wenger seemed very happy to have solved the Sanchez problem. He said it caused them some problems internally, and they played well after he'd gone, didn't they? A comfortable win last weekend. And in Mkhitaryan, they've got a player that you'd think would fit into the Arsenal mould, in theory.
I was going to say, didn't they get knocked out of the FA Cup? But then I remembered they'd already been knocked out of the FA Cup.
And apparently they're lowballing the bid for Aubameyang. God. Apparently they're lowballing the bid for Aubameyang, and they want to try and team him back up with Mkhitaryan. Maybe they'll get that deal done and over the line in the next, what have they got, 3 days or something like that to do that one? Maybe not.
If they do lose that because they're lowballing, you just, oh gosh, everything about that club. It's one of those things, like in life, sometimes it's helpful to look at other people's experience to get perspective on things that are going wrong. And, I know Arsenal have finished above us in the league quite a lot recently. They didn't last season, did they? But before that, they had done for a few seasons. But, oh my goodness gracious me, I'm so glad I'm not. Every day I give thanks for not being an Arsenal fan. It just must be so terrible. There can't be a worse team to support than Arsenal. There just can't.
No, because if you're a team that's sort of a yo-yo club, you just enjoy the football, don't you?
Yeah.
And the occasional big win against a team above you or something like that. For Arsenal, it's the perpetual hope of wanting to be better and really deep down knowing that it's never going to happen while this absolute fraud of a manager is in charge.
I guess then the one I should say this really just for the sake of some actual balance is, I suppose, if you're like a Blackpool fan or a Blackburn Rovers, owned by these terrible kinds of owners, then that's probably worse. But, Arsenal's owner is a famously mediocre sports owner. So, that's not much better either. Anyway. So
are ours, by the way, famously mediocre. They've just lucked out on a very fast-rising tide of globalisation of football and a very competitive telco media market in the UK.
Yeah, exactly. So, Ed, I'm just going to ask you. Ed's in charge of the Twitter questions for the time being. He hasn't done it, so I think that I'm just going to make some Twitter questions up for Ed to answer as a kind of penance for not doing the Twitter questions. Is that doable?
Yeah, we can do that. I know you're on Twitter anyway, lurking away. Lurking.
No, it's not true.
It is.
I click on links when people send them to me.
You're there lurking, spying on what's going on because you really want to know, really. Look, I know you. You say you're not on Twitter, but I know you're lurking, really. You could easily have prompted a few people to send in questions.
No, this is in fact an inaccurate accusation. I have looked at a few tweets that people have sent me, but no, I haven't looked at the timeline or anything like that.
Don't believe you. Anyway, we don't have any questions this week, and I'm stalling for time. So right, what have we talked about that we should have talked about?
I'm going to ask you some Twitter questions of the kind that I like and you don't like. That's what I'm going to do. So, which United player has the best haircut?
Paul Pogba.
Yeah, I think that is probably officially the correct answer. What are the other ones you don't like? If you could be any kind of animal, what would it be?
A lion, and I'd come and... No, I was going to say I'd come and eat you, but I don't think so.
Okay, so you got lion. And all right, so Ed, apart from Eric Cantona, who is your favourite United player ever?
Oh, that's a tough one. Do I have to pick one?
Yeah. Okay. I tell you what, you can have three.
Okay, Roy Keane, Paul Scholes,
obviously.
Brian Robson.
Okay.
Giggsy would be quick. Close to that.
Right.
Close to that. I just can't quite get over the 1,000-yard stare he's got post-game, post-playing. He's going to be a terrible manager. He really is.
It's happening. We are going to see it. Did we talk about Michael Carrick getting a first-team coaching role last week?
Yeah, well, not actually officially done, right? I don't think he's been sort of offered by Mourinho, but I don't think they've actually put a contract in front of him, and I don't think he's officially said he's retired and not playing anymore. He could well take a contract at another club if he's fit and healthy enough.
Someone asked in the week whether thought he would be a good potential United manager one day. It's a really interesting question because on the one hand, I think the Carrick's kind of approach to the game is he's always been very cerebral on the pitch and clearly when he talks about that game, he's not one of these people that can't communicate those ideas. He's very clear about football when he talks about it. And that side of the communication, you clearly think he could do. The one thing that I don't know is whether there's the force of personality there to really kind of deal with the psychological side of it, lift a team that's down, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, who knows? I mean, I don't know whether you can tell much about that side of management from the playing side. I would expect him to be an intelligent, thoughtful, diligent coach. He's done his badges. He's been doing some youth football. The kind of man management piece, the magic that Fergie had. Who knows whether he's got that? Don't know. We're only going to find out when he's put in that kind of pressurized situation.
If you look at, I know you hate him, Ed, but if you look at Guardiola has an insanely driven personality, which clearly communicates itself. I mean, I suspect it's probably quite taxing to deal with as a player, but it clearly he can communicate that drive and intensity. And I mentioned Guardiola because you would imagine that of all the kind of top level coaches, that's the mould of kind of player manager that Carrick would become. Given
Guardiola was that kind of player. He was actually quite quiet on the pitch. So I just don't know whether I can see enough behind the actor's curtain to know what Carrick is going to be like in those really key situations. But look, just in general principle, getting players into coaching roles as part of the family of the club, I think is a very good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember you talking about this when Fergie left and when the class of 92 were getting involved, and you talking about how important institutional knowledge is for big organisations and the amount that we've lost at United. I mean, and we are almost building a kind of an all-new version of this. And, Mourinho did a brilliant interview last year with Rio Ferdinand, and Ferdinand said, are the players aware of the legacy and all that kind of stuff? Do they carry that with them? And Mourinho said, yeah, of course they are. And I hope you're not offended by this. But one of the things we've done is replace some of the old pictures of success in Carrington with the pictures of the current crop winning stuff, because they need to know that they are part of that legacy and they can win too. And that was one of those moments where you think, actually, Mourinho does kind of get the kind of primary problem that there is at this club, which is the weight of the shirt has become too heavy, Anyway.
Other big news this week, Phil Neville appointed England women's manager. Just a segue from the class of 92. Thoughts?
Well, I'm clearly starting a trend because he was immediately deleted his Twitter account afterwards.
That's because he had a whole bunch of misogyny in his Twitter timeline, which somehow the FA, in their complete competence, failed to spot.
I mean, I genuinely think it's disgusting. That's my real take on this. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm doing him a disservice. Maybe he's a changed man. But given all that, given just his tone on all that stuff, the kind of ease with which he throws that stuff around, I just feel like this seems like such a backward step, because it's hardly like this is one of the great coaches of the men's game going to coach the England women's team. This is a man who's coaching.
No, he's in the club, right? So he's an FA favourite, and that's why he's got the job. It's not because of his coaching credentials. There are thousands of coaches more qualified than he, and plenty in the women's game as well. Although the FA have basically pointed out through back channels that many of the people that they might have interviewed or might have considered for the job didn't want it.
Yeah, I
don't know how fair that is, but I think we know why. He's in the club. That's why Phil has been appointed. Maybe he'll do a great job.
But I mean, yeah. I don't know. Even if he does a great job, the last guy did a great job, in inverted commas. The team was very successful, but there are things that matter more than that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think we're saying that Phil's getting a bit handsy with the the under-18s team.
No, that's but that was
he might have some old-fashioned views.
I think we have to say at this point it was an adult team with which the last man was allegedly getting handsy. But also, that isn't even the problem. It's the cultural stuff. It's the complete lack of understanding of the culture. That's the bit that is like, and Phil Neville is, you know, we've seen him be casually homophobic. We've seen him be casually misogynistic on Twitter. That's why he's got to delete his Twitter account to have the job. You know, it's a total mess and kind of low key, basically a disgrace, I think.
So, moving on, but staying within the women's game, Manchester City put out a video this week saying that they are no longer Manchester City men's and women's team. It's just Manchester City.
Yeah.
Same game, same club, and all of that.
Yeah.
Got a lot of praise for that video and the message that it sent, and I think rightly so. Got a bit of a problem with this one, though, given who they're owned by. And the total lack of human rights for women, or for many people generally, but especially for women in the UAE, where if you're a woman, you can't get divorced unless the man wants it, even if he's gone to prison. I think if he goes to prison for more than however many years, you can. You can go to prison for reporting a rape. You cannot get exactly the jobs you want because you're restricted by the employment code. They didn't have a female minister until 2004. You're definitely not allowed to get an abortion or have any rights over your own body. So, sorry for getting all snowflakey and virtue signalling on this one.
I'm glad it's you, to be honest. It's nice not to be the only cuck in town. Do you know what I'm saying?
But yeah, I mean, some serious. And look, great piece of PR, but a whole club is a piece of PR for the country, right?
I mean, this is...
and it's a shame that some serious journalists aren't making that point.
It's a very odd situation, isn't it? Because all that is entirely true, and yet the thing they did is still a good thing. It's one of those things, isn't it? It's like...
It's almost as if politics is nuanced sometimes. Would you believe it?
Yeah, absolutely. And United don't even have a women's team. Brilliant.
Well, right. And again, not to virtue signal too much, but that's pretty embarrassing and wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those people who say, well, would you watch the women's team? No, but there's lots of things that I don't watch. I don't watch the under-21s. Doesn't mean they shouldn't have the under-21s. They're not even called that's how little I watch them. That's not even what they're called. The under-23s. But you know what I mean? Like, no, I've never watched a Manchester United under-8s game, but they absolutely should have them. So, you know, it's nonsense. Anyway, people are ridiculous. That's quite enough of that. And frankly, Ed, I think that's enough for one episode, don't you?
Probably we've lost half our audience.
I mean, surely the people that were lost by that have been lost already, unless we've picked them up recently and they weren't here during the 2017 general election or Brexit or Trump or,
or any of that. Well, look, we've got to do some predictions. I totally forgot to do any Twitter questions, so at least we can do the other thing that we get wrong every week as well, which is predict the score. I said we didn't last week, did we?
Bang on, 4-0 FC. Ed... I hate doing this so much. I think Man United are going to lose on Wednesday night. I hate it, but I think it's what's going to happen because we are so bad away from home in big games under Mourinho. So I can't see it. I mean, I can see a way that we win. I just don't think that's what's going to happen. So I'm going to go 2-1 Spurs. Ugh.
Wow. I think we'll find a way to nick a draw in this one.
Okay. All right. Thought you were going to say win.
in a team we're 8 points above in the league.
Yeah.
And who are, in a mixed bag of form and were just held by Newport in the FA Cup. In fact, we're lucky to get a draw against Newport in the FA Cup. So, 1-1.
Okay. And then Huddersfield 4-0, Man United 4-0, no question. 4-0 FC.
Well, I can't. I'm going to go for a 3-0 just to be controversial.
I really want a Paul Pogba goal. Feels like it's been a long time, and they're just the best thing when Paul Pogba scores. So,
well, he's going to have to fight off Sanchez, Lukaku, and Jesse Lingard, especially Lingard.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you see Lingard put on Instagram, I knew you wanted to come and Millie Rock with a Mandem. He's just an absolute joy, that boy.
Never lose it, Jesse.
No,
never lose it.
No.
So in the meantime, next week I'll remember to ask questions. In fact, given that I like doing this kind of thing, I'm probably going to automate the call for questions, just so I'll never forget again.
Of course you are.
Yeah, no, it's pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
And so you'll be getting the same standard question for me about midday on a Sunday from now on.
All right, bro.
And you can carry on lurking on Twitter, which I know you're doing.
I tell you, this, Ed, is fake news. This is a person telling another person he's doing a thing that he's not doing.
You're gonna say it's a witch hunt next.
Go work for CNN.
Fake news. Yeah, fake Rantcast is over.
Yep.
And we'll see you next week.
Patreon backers, stay tuned for real Rantcast coming up next. The Rantcast is an independent podcast supported by listeners like you. If you want to support the Rantcast, head to patreon.com/Rantcast. And here's a clip of the kind of bonus content that you can expect to find if you do.
We'll never know whether Berbatov, if he had played in that game or been on the bench, would have made a difference.
That's true. It's just one of the great unknowables of the universe, whether the problem, the mismatch in the two teams in that game was whether Berbatov was playing or not. That's
exactly.
all it was.
Well, you may say there's a mismatch. I'll present some alternative facts.
Yeah.
we're just missing Berber in that one.
Yeah.
Not. But he still did that mad thing when he span around the West Ham defender, and we'll always have that.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Milo's Pro Rewards members. Go big during Pro Savings Days at Lowe's. Buy more and save more with up to 20% off job site essentials like primed finger joint boards when you spend $3,000 or more. Plus, get up to 25% off PVC DWV pipes when you spend $250 or more. Shop Pro Savings Days at Lowe's. We help, you save. Valid through 1/23. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Visit Lowe's.com/terms for details. Subject to change.